What if I put another truffle in my mouth before we start recording?
Go ahead, do it.
Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, Stocking Stuffers. I'm Jeff Searcy. Jay Logsdon is adding another truffle to the ones he's stuffing his mouth with.
I'm Jay Logsdon.
Truffle King.
Call me Truffle King.
I mean, Riz King is already taken by Mike Lombardo, so...
Until we take it from him.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of our power is to bestow the Riz King mantle.
Yeah. Watch out the Rizzler, who I learned is just a fat kid.
Yeah.
Like,
The Costco kid, apparently.
Yeah, Costco fat kid. There's a new Riz King in town, and it's whoever we say it is.
Exactly.
I was so disappointed.
I know, right?
I was like, because I had no idea who these guys were, and I watched the AEW pay-per-view, and they're like, the Rizzler is going to be, I'm like, what the fuck is a Rizzler? So I'm all excited, and then it's just this fat kid, and I was like, I could have been the Rizzler.
Maybe the real Rizzler was inside all of us, Jay.
Anyway, as everyone who listened to the Black Christmas, do you think there's people who just listen to the Stocking Stuffers and they don't listen to the mainline episodes?
There's got to be at least a couple.
All right. Well, for those sickos out there who don't listen to the
main episode,
main episodes, as we announced on the Black Christmas 2019 episode, we got a big announcement. I'm actually, as listeners know, I was getting my bathroom redone last summer.
That was a wonderful experience.
It was. The experience is going to get a whole lot worse because now I'm getting the whole rest of the house redone, including the office space where we record the podcast. So that means that we're going to go on a short hiatus of Stocking Stuffer episodes.
Yes, we'll still do the mainline episodes like normal.
We've kind of got a temporary schedule drawn up, but that basically means probably up until about May. We'll be every other week, and then we'll be back to doing stuff every week.
Yep.
So just a short little break. I'll post pictures because the new office space is going to be really, really cool. So I'm excited for that.
Yes.
So once that comes around, I will post pictures and videos and whatnot. But in the meantime, we'll probably sound quality will dip a bit because we're going to be trying to find spaces at like local libraries where we can record.
Indeed.
So we'll see how that goes, but it'll be a fun experience, and like I said, when it's all said and done, it should be a whole lot better. So.
Yes, quality, the mark of horror for the holidays.
Yeah, if we're known for nothing else, it's the quality of podcasts we release.
Yes.
Certainly not a guy shoving truffles in his mouth.
That would never happen on this show.
So Jeffrey, watch any non-Christmas horror scary movies? Do any spooky stuff?
No, not really. Not a whole lot of spooky stuff going on this week. I mean, I do my usual spooking around the neighborhood by walking around, but no.
Yeah. I have a ghost face mask that I bought for Spirit for. We were doing like dress up days, and I was like, I've always wanted a ghost face mask, so I bought a ghost face mask. I've thought about walking around the neighborhood at night wearing my ghost face robes and ghost face mask,
Nice.
walking my dog and just seeing what happens.
I have watched a few times since I saw it in the theater, the trailer for 28 Years Later. Looks pretty interesting.
It looks very creepy. I watched Terror Train on New Year's.
Of course.
Because it's the tradition. I watched a new movie dropped on Shudder, Last Straw.
Ah, okay.
Really neat. I was intrigued by kind of the trailer. It's kind of like The Strangers, but in a diner, I would say.
Okay.
Me, someone who's never actually seen a Strangers movie, I would describe it as The Strangers in a diner. But it's pretty wild. There's a really kind of neat twist that I certainly didn't see coming. I'm sure there's people out there who's like, oh, I saw the twist a mile away. I didn't see the twist. But yeah, it was really neat.
Actually, I don't know if this is strictly horror. I guess to some people it would be, because I mean, there's some people who consider Jurassic Park like a horror movie. I watched 65 with Adam Driver.
Oh, the like time travel movie, dinosaur movie.
They're like a civilization of ancient humans in the past, and he's on a long 2-year haul to get money to pay for his daughter's undetermined illness. But she dies while he's on this trip, making the money to pay for the treatment. And his autopilot leads him through a trail of like asteroid debris, and he crashes on a planet, which is Earth, but 65 million years ago. And the twist in that is the debris trail was from the asteroid that is going to wipe out the dinosaurs.
Oh, cool. That's neat.
So they also have to get off the planet. He and one survivor from the people he was transporting have to get off the planet, surviving the dinosaurs, obviously, before the asteroid impact.
I'd say, yeah, maybe a little sci-fi, maybe a little horror mixed in there.
They definitely treat the dinosaurs like monsters.
Went to a couple to Christmas haunted houses. Did that the same ones we talked about last year. I didn't. They had all of them on like the same weekend.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, there's no way I can make it to Cedar Rapids.
Yeah,
like
that's a bit of a hike.
And so I was like, and I think it was the same weekend as the ice storm here. So I was like, well, there's no way I can do that. So I was like, I'll just do the ones nearby, or the ones I've already done, and had a blast at both of them. They're both still great. Also went and saw The Birthday at the Varsity for one of their midnights at 10 with Corey Feldman. Very strange. Absolutely would recommend seeing. Cool. It is Corey Feldman's like at his girlfriend's dad's birthday party, and he like owns like this big massive hotel chain, and like the crown jewel of the hotel chain is in like Baltimore. And so it's this like old like beautiful hotel, but like weird stuff just starts happening and continues to happen like over the course of the entire movie. It's very, very weird. And basically there's like a group of people that are trying to awaken an eldritch god.
Okay.
Like on this day in this hotel, localized entirely in the ballroom.
Can I see it?
Maybe. Depends on your view at the end of the movie, but it was really neat. I would absolutely recommend it, and was partially funded by like I think like the Spanish film industry.
Okay.
So it has a bit of that weirdness of like Luis Buñuel, a little bit of the weirdness of like Day of the Beast.
Yes.
So that's a good one to check. If I don't know where it's streaming, but if you get a chance to see The Birthday, I recommend checking it out.
Day of the Beast. What a movie.
What a movie. All right. Well, let's get into now that all that crap's out of the way, let's get into the meat of the episode.
Yes, the meat of the episode. What do you know about Peruvian shadow demons, Jay?
Nothing actually.
Me either, until I stumbled across this.
Oh, exciting.
So this is from a Dr. Benjamin Archer. He went on an expedition to the Moira Caves in Peru in 1937.
Okay.
These are journal entries recovered from that journal. So July 12th, 1937. At last we have arrived in the dense jungles of Peru, mere miles from the Moira Caves. According to the weathered map I bought in a market in Cusco, this is where the ancient Carpaxa people performed their rituals. Legends speak of a particular artifact I'm interested in, the Crown of Whispers, an artifact of power said to grant dominion over life and death. My team, Evelyn, a linguist, Carter, a local guide, and our local porters seem to be wary. Locals warn of shade keepers, is the closest Evelyn can translate, guardians of the caves. Superstition, no doubt, but the tension is palpable. I'm reminded constantly that this is a scientific endeavor and not a ghost story. So July 13th, 1937. The cave's entrance is shrouded in moss and shadow as if the jungle itself conspired to hide it. Inside, the air is unnaturally cold. Evelyn noted carvings in the walls depicting humanoid figures with grotesquely elongated limbs offering sacrifices to a crowned figure. This is repeated many times on the walls. Deeper within, we found a stone pedestal adorned with skeletal remains. A crude inscription encircled it. Evelyn translated it as, "Speak no lies where the shade keepers dwell." Our guide Carter noted a joke that this was a warning for tax collectors. I did not feel like I was in a joking mood. July 14th, 1937. We have found the crown, at least we believe so. It rests atop an obsidian altar in a hidden room. The cavern around it seems almost alive. Strange whispers echo in the chamber, perhaps from airflow, we aren't sure. Evelyn swears that she heard her name spoken. The crown is like a grotesque, beautiful thing, made of intertwined bone and metal, with faintly glowing symbols when put in light, etched along its rim. Carter, ignoring my protests, reached out to touch it without any protection. The moment his fingers brushed it on the pedestal, a low sound reverberated through the cave. We must have triggered some kind of defense mechanism. Shadows seemed to dance on the walls as well. We left the crown on its pedestal, and I urged him to not touch it again. But I feel like we are being followed by something. July 15th, 1937. Last night, one of the porters disappeared. His belongings were untouched, but his bedroll was covered in a viscous black fluid. Evelyn noticed the carvings in the cave have changed. Figures with elongated limbs are now closer to the cave entrance. Carter insists we turn back, but I refuse. We've spent way too much money and come too far. And the crown is the key to understanding the religion of the Carpaxa civilization. July 16th, 1937. Whispers. Carter is dead. He attacked me in the night, screaming that I had brought them here. His eyes were as black as pitch. Evelyn shot him with her revolver before he could strangle me. After burying him, Evelyn has confided to me that she is hearing whispers constantly. At first it was just every now and then. They're calling her name, promising her knowledge as she dons the crown. I fear I may hear them soon too. So what do you think's going on here, Jay?
I don't know. That's wild.
July 17th, 1937. Evelyn is gone. She disappeared into the cave while I slept. When I found her, she was kneeling before the altar, the crown in her hands. The voice did not sound like her. It sounded like 3 or 4 voices layered over hers. She spoke only, "I see them now," and placed the crown on her head. I don't think I can't have possibly seen, but her eyes also became pitch black like Carter's, and her face seemed to stretch into something inhuman. I began to hear her whispering my name, and I ran. July 18th, 1937. I am alone. The remaining porters fled into the jungle, but I can still hear their screams in the distance. Shadows seem to have surrounded my camp. No matter how hard I try, I can't get any light to cast any of them away. They seem to move in unnatural ways, and I swear, if I turn my back or I leave my eyes closed for too long, they change positions and become closer to my tent. Evelyn, I don't know what she's become, seems to dart among them. Her whispers are maddening, urging me to return to the cave. I've barricaded myself in the tent. The journal will remain here alongside the map. I fear I will never leave this place. Final entry. If you are reading this, burn this journal, destroy the map, leave the crown where it lies. I hear Evelyn's voice calling to me. I know I shouldn't listen, but the promise of knowledge is very tempting.
Weird. I honestly don't know what to do with any of that. It almost sounds more like an H.P. Lovecraft story. Yes. I like if you gave me that, you were like, "Hey, read this," I'd be like, "Oh, did H.P. Lovecraft write this?" Like, it seems like the Call of Cthulhu kind of, or like Bram Stoker's Dracula or something like that.
Yes, indeed. Well, apparently that wasn't the end of it, Jay, because in 1951, Dr. Edmund Falk, another historian on a Peruvian archaeological survey, stumbled across this journal and this campsite. So, in 1951, during a Peruvian archaeological survey, the journal of Dr. Benjamin Archer was unearthed at a remote jungle site near the Moira Caves. Archer's notes offer a harrowing account of his ill-fated expedition, yet many dismiss his writings as fiction or madness. However, my research into the Carpaxa people reveal unsettling corroborations. I write this not to discredit Archer, but to warn future explorers. The Crown of Whispers and its guardians may be more than legend. The Carpaxa civilization flourished between 800 and 1200 AD in the jungles of modern-day Peru. They were known for relatively advanced metallurgy for the area, particularly their use of orichalcum, a now lost alloy, believed to have spiritual properties. Their religious practices centered on dualistic deities representing creation and decay. The crowned one, a figure adorned with the crown of whispers, symbolized the balance of these forces. Rituals often involve human sacrifice intended to bind the spirit of the deceased into servitude as a shade keeper. Legends claim the crown allowed its bearer to control these spirits, granting immense power. However, it's said that prolonged use of the crown may twist the wearer's mind and body, turning them into a monstrous amalgamation and becoming one with the shadows. The Moira Caves were considered the Carpaxa people's most sacred site, believed to be a gateway between the physical and spiritual realms. Archaeological evidence suggests the caves were abandoned abruptly, with artifacts and skeletal remains left undisturbed for centuries. Local legends describe the caves as cursed, warning that any who enter will be claimed by the shadows. Recent surveys have revealed intricate carvings within the cave system, many of which depict elongated humanoid figures eerily similar to Archer's descriptions. So he kind of breaks down. Very weird.
Yeah, that's wild. Like I said, like if you didn't tell me anything about that, I'd be like, oh, that's a H.P. Lovecraft story. Like,
Dr. Archer's account aligns disturbingly with Carpaxa myths. His description of the crown's material and inscription suggests it may have been crafted from orichalcum, lending credence to its supposed supernatural properties. The whispers described by Archer and Evelyn may be linked to hallucinogenic substances. Carpaxa priests were known to use potent psychoactive herbs in their rituals. However, Archer's claim that the carvings in the caves remain unexplained. Reports of physical transformation are common in Carpaxa myths. Victims are said to merge with the shadows, becoming shade keepers. Archer's description of Evelyn's grotesque transformation echoes these stories chillingly. However, I will note that he would have had no way to have been exposed to these stories because Carpaxa myths were not well known when he undertook this expedition.
Weird.
No trace of Archer's remains were ever found. The porters who fled reported hearing whispers for weeks after escaping, though none dared to return to the caves. A weathered tent was found near the journal, its fabric slashed from the inside. My conclusion can only be that perhaps these caves should remain unexplored. Due to their remoteness, I do not think that will be hard. Yet the Crown of Whispers lingers in scholarly debate. It's kind of a relic that straddles the line between myth and reality. For now, I leave Archer's warnings unheeded. I should explore the caves again, I think, but I may not be able to fund this expeditions. There are, however, secrets that should be buried, perhaps, that humanity was not meant to recover.
It really, to me, it seems like it's like like I said, like an H.P. Lovecraft story or like an Indiana Jones or something like it does. It whatever you're reading doesn't feel real. Like that's the weird thing. Like,
well, Jay, there's a reason for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's because I wrote all that.
Oh, cool.
I was trying to do something like, I was like, maybe I could make like an Indiana Jones Lovecraft style thing. And I was like, there's got to be some myths, right, about this stuff. And I was like, yeah, apparently there's like a shadow demon myth culture in Peru. So I was like,
oh, that's awesome. Like,
I'll set it there.
It really did feel like an H.P. Lovecraft story. Like that was it. Like it felt, like I said, it felt like you were writing, or like you know, if you'd given me that, I would have been like, oh, that's something you could find right next to like Call of Cthulhu. Like I said, like it really does have that kind of feel to it.
But yeah, I want to create some of my own horror stories since I like them so much.
I think that's awesome. That's really cool. I love that idea. I think that's really neat. I do want to. One thing I was thinking too is I was like, you could also do like an, you know, to me, like my other thought was I was like, oh, you could do something where it's like Oracle of Delphi, right? Like you could do something weird where the you know, like, oh, you can explain it all away. Oh, you know, there was some kind of gas leak in the chamber and it was causing people to hallucinate and whatnot. And I mean, you know, we don't know what happened in whatever Dyatlov Pass.
Right.
Like, and you know, those people went crazy and did like, and we know that the Oracle of Delphi sat on a gas leak, and that's why they could see the future.
This is definitely a lot of weird, unexplained things or partially explainable things.
Also, speaking of the Dyatlov Pass thing, did you hear that, like, Frozen is one of the reasons they were able to, like, solve some of the mysteries?
Oh, yeah.
Pixar's abilities with, like, the snowfall in Frozen. They were like, oh, well, if this, and they were able to, like, solve some of the mystery about it or something. I couldn't find the whole thing, but I was like, oh, that's wild. Way to go. Way to go, Pixar. Solving the world's mysteries.
Of course.
And also putting out shitty Moana 2. What a crappy movie.
I know you were not a fan of that. All right, Jay, I had a small idea here. I think we should look at what's coming out this year like we usually do and say whether we're interested in it or not.
Okay, yeah, I'm down with that.
It seems like it's going to be quite a big year for horror. Of course, we talked about it briefly 28 years later. Definitely want to see that one.
I think that I would like to rewatch all three, like the other two, before I see it. Like I remember loving the first one, and I remember being kind of lukewarm on the second one. Like I was not. I thought it was fine, but I was like, it didn't have the magic of the first one. But I am really interested to see where the third one goes.
Yes, I'm kind of interested, especially because of that like weird like skull temple thing that's in the trailer. I'm like, I wonder what kind of weird cult has sprung up in the wake of this disaster.
That was my same thought. I was like, are the Ragers building that, or are there like people who are doing like what do they call it, like the Whisper Men or whatever in Walking Dead? The people who pretend to be zombies or whatever.
Yes. That's what I was kind of wondering, because there's a couple scenes where it looks like there's there's definitely a few Ragers that are still alive from like the original group, because there's that like emaciated skeletal one that pops up. So they must have evolved somehow to survive longer. But there does appear to be like healthy looking ones coming at them at one point, and one that's like tied up too that looks like a healthy person. Mm-hmm. So there must either be more people or something has happened. But yes, the trailer did, especially with that weird recital of that Kipling
boots. Yeah, boots. That is so creepy.
About the World War I soldiers going to die. Yes, I was like, that is really weird, very unsettling.
No, absolutely.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
I haven't seen one, although my wife really does want to see it because she likes Matthew Lillard.
I would say it's worth watching. And I think if the way they set it up, I think the sequel will be good.
Okay.
M3gan 2.0, course.
Of course.
Got to see that.
That's a must-see.
That's non-debatable. The Black Phone 2. Did you see the Black Phone one?
I have not. There are some people I know who love the Black Phone.
It was really good.
And so that's kind of enough for me to be like, I should check this out. Like,
it's worth watching.
It's one of those where I'm like, initially I was like, that's one of your favorite horror movies, but I'm like, at the same time, like, you know what? If it is, like, maybe it is worth watching. Like,
The Monkey.
I'm a little intrigued.
A Stephen King adaptation based on a short story. That's what draws me in, because I'm usually not a fan of Stephen King's novels, but I am a fan of his short stories. Especially one of my favorites that's been adapted is The Mist.
Well, I was thinking too, like, Jordan Peele's involved, and like, I think he has about I think there's one movie that's a hit, one movie that's about 50-50, and one movie that was a little bit of a miss. None of them were bad, but it's like, has about a 50-50 hit rate or so, I would say. But I'm like, but not directing this, but like is involved. And then Osgood Perkins, which, hey, as long as the script's not, the monkey's actually Satan.
Yeah.
I think Osgood Perkins is a really good like director and like filmmaker.
Yes. That's just, long legs, let down by the ending.
Yep.
But that's a problem with a lot of movies. The Bride, written, directed, and produced by Maggie Gyllenhaal.
I don't think I know anything about. Is this the?
It's a new take on The Bride of Frankenstein, I think.
Okay.
And Penelope Cruz and Christian Bale are in it. I know that for sure.
Ooh, a Bride of Frank. Yeah, I might check that out.
Of course, Saw 11.
I'll probably see it. I've seen all the.
We've seen all the Saws. The Conjuring: Last Rites.
Everyone knows my thoughts.
It's got Ed and Lorraine Warren back, Jay. They're back again
for one last rodeo.
Of course, we've already talked about we want to see Wolfman.
I am actually very intrigued by Wolfman.
Final Destination Bloodline.
Absolutely.
Yes.
My understanding is I don't know if this is confirmed or not. A high-rise apartment complex burns down.
Yes.
But because, like, let's say it's hundreds of people that are saved by this person, like, circumventing death.
Takes a long time.
It takes death a long time. So people have gone on and had families and moved away, and death is slowly catching up.
And none of those people should exist. Like none of those children or whatever.
Yeah. So like I'm really intrigued by what that movie is.
Another Insidious, Jay.
I've not seen any of the Insidiouses. I do think the red faced demon scene.
Yes.
I've seen that before. That's very creepy. Speaking of Insidious, I'm going to see like an Insidious stage play at the Civic Center in like February.
Oh, okay.
So I'll report back about that. But that's kind of my only Insidious. That might be my only Insidious knowledge.
The Woman in the Yard.
I haven't heard a word about that.
Apparently a dangerous woman shows up in this person's yard. They can't leave the house.
Interesting.
I'm intrigued.
I might see that.
Jordan Peele's next movie, Him.
I might see that.
Do you know what it's about?
Nope.
It's a football quarterback. I believe the story is he's like aging. It seems like an Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady type situation where he's like past his prime, and he's offered the chance to go to this clinic that's going to rejuvenate his youth.
So it's like The Substance, but for
yes, it seems like a different substance.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see if I'll probably check it out, but boy, we'll have to. With The Substance coming out, you'll have a lot of work to do to top that.
Sinners. This one's got Michael B. Jordan.
I do like Michael B. Jordan,
the Killmonger himself.
Yeah.
It's set in the Jim Crow era South, and apparently a town is possessed by demons.
I might check that out.
Yes.
What I saw of Lovecraft Country, like that's kind of a similar kind of vibe. Like,
yeah. Apparently another I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yes, I will absolutely see that.
Of course, we've already mentioned Thanksgiving too.
That's a must see. I Know What You Did Last. The new I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm like, if it's anything like, as long as the reveal's better than I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, where he goes, I'm Ben's son, get it? Because his name's like Craig Benson.
Yeah.
Ben's son.
Obviously. And of course we have Drop, which is apparently another Blumhouse thing in the vein of Happy Death Day.
I really do like Happy Death Day. I know you and I were both fans of It's a Wonderful Knife, which is kind of in that, I would say, in that same vein. Happy Death Day, Freaky, It's a Wonderful Knife. Like, those are all kind of the same vibe of movies. So, like, I might check that out.
And the last one I saw that was interesting popped out was apparently they're doing another Anaconda movie.
Ooh.
Called The Anaconda. And apparently circus performers are stranded in the rainforest after an anaconda attacks their boat. They encounter poachers hunting the beast who use them as bait. They have to use their circus skills to survive against the anaconda.
You know what they need to do to get rid of that anaconda?
What's that?
Lose those buns.
Because
the anaconda don't want none unless you got
them. And apparently another Predator movie is also coming out.
Okay.
But there's not really any details.
I think it maybe has something to do with like Fede Alvarez and the
I believe
alien Romulus.
It's possibly this one might be another thing in like the Prey series of movies, because they've talked about that one and they've talked about one set in like the alien Romulus universe. If it's, I believe Predator Badlands is supposed to be set in feudal Japan.
Ooh.
So that should be interesting.
I did not see Prey, but everything I've heard makes it sound amazing.
Prey was good. And that's about it.
Oh, one you did not mention, Hard Eyes. One you and I are both very excited for.
Yes, we got to see Hard Eyes, which it may be the Cinemark secret movie on the 27th.
Because it looks like it is... it's Michael Kennedy, the same guy who did It's a Wonderful Knife.
Yep.
I got there in the end. And I think also some people involved with Scream are involved with it.
Yeah.
So it looks like it, and it got an R rating, which is huge. Like, it looks brutal.
And it's confirmed that whatever that secret movie is, it is going to be a horror movie, because when AMC does it, they differentiate. They put Scream Fest or Film Fest, and this is a Scream Fest.
Okay.
So if you're interested in going to that one, we can do that.
I might have to. I might have to take it. We'll see how I'm feeling. With everything else going on, but I might have to take you up on that. If not, I'll see it myself, and that's probably going to be an episode we'll have to drop in the middle of all this going on. We'll have to do a stocking stuffer about Hard Eyes.
We'll have to do some stuff. But anyway,
I am really excited for Thanksgiving too.
Yes, very excited.
I've not heard. Granted, it's still early in the year, but I've not heard anything about any Christmas horror movies this year.
Not anything specific yet, no.
But I'm sure there'll be some stuff coming down.
Return of the Living Dead remake.
Yes,
is going to be Christmas.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. Yeah,
but I don't know when that's actually coming out. So
I think that's supposed to be this year. Yeah. So, well, Jeff, you gotta lead the podcast there for a little bit. But the Game Master's back.
Oh God,
and he's got a question for you.
Oh no.
Fuck, marry, kill, miss. And we're gonna wrap up with a little question about movie we watched last week.
Okay.
You gotta fuck one, you gotta marry one, you gotta kill miss one.
All right, here we go.
Mrs. Mac, Black Christmas 1974. Mrs. Mac, Black Christmas 2006. And Carrie Elways' character, Dr. Gelson, in Black Christmas 2019. You gotta fuck one, you gotta marry one, and you gotta kill miss one.
I'd have to fuck Mrs. Mac from the 1974 one. That seems like that'd be a good time. I have to marry Mrs. Mac from the 2006, I think, and I gotta kill Carrie Elways, because he would just that character would be way too annoying to have around.
I think I'm with you on the kill, miss. I think I would have to. I think I would flip the Mrs. Max.
Okay.
I think I would marry Mrs. Mac 1974, because, like, I don't know, maybe it'd get her to calm down and not be such a...
That's what my thing was. Like, I don't know if I want to be married to her. One night with her might be interesting.
That's a good point. You might be right. And Black Christmas 2006 is Andrea Martin. So, I mean, hey.
I mean, you're not bad.
Yeah, so, all right. Yeah, I think you're right then. I think you talked me into it.
All right, well, follow us on all the things.
Yep. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, X/Twitter, all those places. We are at horror4holidays, horror4holidays. Send us an email, horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com.
YouTube.com/horrorfortheholidays. Hit the subscribe thing. Hit the bell for the real notifications of when stuff actually comes out. Like it. Leave us comments. We read them all.
That we do. We actually do read all the comments. We read every email. Even if I'd literally, before this started, Jeff and I were talking about Jun Group, because we got an email from Jun Group about putting the podcast on Jun Group.
And continuing our relationship, which we never started.
Yeah, we never started it. Continuing both our relationship and our conversation, which I don't remember doing either.
But then again, Jay has been under the influence of the goo.
Oh, God, gotta watch out for that goo. I think that might be a new catchphrase for the podcast.
Gotta watch out for that goo.
I don't know how we go about this, and I don't know if legally we would be allowed to do this, but if we can figure it out, we need to figure out how to make those patron saint candles.
Oh yeah.
But it needs to be Simon Phillips.
We should.
Simon Phillips, patron saint of the podcast.
Yes.
I don't know how we do that, but we need to figure that out.
We're gonna figure it out.
Also, leave a review, 5 stars on your podcatcher of choice. Tell a friend, spread the word. Help grow this community of Christmas horror loving
perverts, weirdos. Yeah.
I was gonna say fiends, but yeah, perverts or weirdos. All those things work.
All right, well, I think that's all we need to do.
Yeah, we'll see you again next week with a regular movie, and then like I said, for a short amount of time, we will be every other week. But then we will be, like I said, hopefully back in May, we should be back to our full regular schedule. So.
And who knows? We might throw some other stuff in there. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. And heck, we might even release 5-minute little goof arounds or something.
We'll do something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.